I hereby call the school committee for March 3rd, 2020. If we could please stand and salute our American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Members of the school committee, I want to thank you and the superintendent and school administrators and, of course, Melinda, Kim Gibson, and all the folks that came to the retreat on Saturday. I thought it was not just educational and informative, but it was really a collaborative approach where good things were discussed and better things are going to be achieved by that. So I just wanted to publicly thank each and every one of you on that. And I do want to thank the superintendent for his efforts on that. It's my understanding, agenda item number 2, there are no hearing of visitors this evening. We will then go into the consent agenda, which is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm going to ask if there's any members of the committee that would like to take any of these out separately. Mr. D'Agostino, please.
Item B and item D, please.
B and D, take them out. All in favor of taking B and D out, please raise your hand. All opposed, we will take B and D out. We will now go to A, C, E, F, and G. Members of the committee, is there any questions relative to those?
I'll make a motion to approve items A, C, F, and G.
E as well, Mr. Sullivan.
And E as well.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Mrs. Sullivan. A, C, E, F, and G. Take those collectively. There's a proper second. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. It passes. Now we will go to B. Mr. D'Agostino, please.
Thank you, Mayor Sullivan. Item B is the report of the Finance Subcommittee. On February 11th, the Finance Subcommittee met here at the high school and covered the following items. The superintendent and chief financial officer, Aldo Petronio, came to talk about the FY 2021 budget. We discussed the executive team budget planning manual, listing out all the schools and the budget for each school in the district. We also reviewed and discussed the following budget figures: Chapter 70 monies, charter school reimbursement cost, charter school sending tuition, school choice receiving tuition, as well as school choice sending tuition, and the FY 21 net school funding result. And then that concluded the finance meeting from February 11th of 2020. And that is all on item B.
Members of the committee, are there any questions relative to what Mr. D'Agostino just outlined? Seeing none, I entertain a motion relative to that matter.
Motion to approve item B.
So motion made by Mr. Sullivan. It was properly seconded by Mrs. Sullivan. All in favor, kindly raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. It hereby passes. B is passed. Now we go to D, please, Mr. D'Agostino.
Item D is the report of the Curriculum Subcommittee, and I will paraphrase and summarize as best I can, as it's a little bit lengthy. So the Curriculum Subcommittee met on February the 13th, also here at the high school, and we started with a presentation from Dr. Ethan Cancel, who reviewed 4 improvement practices that they would be, the principals from a few of our schools will be sharing with us: leadership, shared responsibility, intentional practices for improving instruction, student-specific supports and instruction, and school climate and culture. Our first presentation was from Principal Nazarella from the Plouffe Academy. She gave a report of the efforts at the Plouffe Academy. The most notable high-level goal thus far is to include reestablishment of common planning time for teachers who meet on a regular basis each week with a focused agenda and a consistent format for reporting out universal data analysis protocols which are used to inform instruction, the redesign of their Period 7 class. Then Principal Natalie Pohl from the Martha George School presented, and she presented the George School Plan, which focused on analyzing data to drive instruction increase rigorous instruction, and build 21st century skills, integrating global perspectives and embracing their diversity, and developing students as active participants in their own learning. A couple of additional points that came from that presentation. She discussed a high leverage goal. Number one, develop a highly effective data-driven professional learning community. Strategic objective number one, develop highly effective professional learning teams to frequently monitor student data. And finally, high leverage goal two, strengthen teachers' expertise to provide rigorous instruction for all students. Finally, we had our final presentation was from Allison Ramsey from the Brookfield School. Principal Ramsey reported that the Brookfield School improvement practices will be as follows. Practice one, focus on teams, establishing routines for collaboration and shared practice and responsibility for student achievement. Then talked about turnaround practice number two, or improvement practice number two, I'm sorry. Stresses the importance of using data to inform instruction. Finally, improvement practice three, turnaround practice number three revolves around ensuring that all students receive the appropriate interventions to meet their individual needs. And again, I apologize for the fact that I'm very much summarizing much more in-depth presentations that were very informative. They put a lot of time into that, and I'm not doing them even close to justice with my summary. The final thing I wanted to mention on the report of the curriculum subcommittee, we did have discussion about budget impact on the schools. And so I thought it was worth mentioning that all three of the principals stated that the past years of budget deficits and cuts have certainly played a big role in the decline in student achievement, but they are starting to see improvements since implementing the practices. So progress is being made, but without question, and I think, no surprise here, the budgetary issues we've been dealing with have, without question, taken their toll on student achievement. And that is all I have for the report of the curriculum subcommittee.
Thank you, Mr. D'Agostino. Any questions for the Vice Chairman? No questions? I entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve item D.
Second.
Motion was made by Mr. Sullivan, seconded by Mrs. Sullivan. All in favor, kindly raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. It hereby passes. We will then go on to Section 4, which is communication. Do we have any communication?
No one. I saw.
I don't know. We'll move on to number 5, which is a report of Superintendent of Schools. Mr. Thomas, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I want to turn to Georgina Eunice to come up with our and give us our student report for this week. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Superintendent, and school committee members. Thank you for having me here tonight. Last night was the all-city chorus concert. Brockton Middle and High School choruses and the Brockton High School Harmonics Group performed a variety of songs in the Fine Arts Auditorium. The boys' varsity basketball team has earned a spot in the Division I South Finals after their win against BC High Sunday night. The team will compete against Mansfield this Friday night at Taunton High at 7:30 p.m. And congratulations to the Brockton High School Drama Club for advancing in the semifinals while competing the Skinflint of Shikshini. The Drama Club received 4 All-Star awards for acting, sets, costume, as well as hair and makeup. Also, the National Honor Society will be hosting a fundraiser at Altitude Trampoline Park this Friday night. When you mention National Honor Society, 20% of the proceeds go back to the society. That's all. Thank you for all your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate your report.
Nice job.
Motion to accept the student
Motion to
report.
accept the student report.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So a quick curriculum update, just to keep you updated. The district review, the Department of Ed DESE district review is going on this week, as you well know. We've been planning for this for months. The team is in place. They started yesterday with an orientation with myself and the executive team. I've been interviewed over the last 2 days for a total of about 5 hours. We interviewed again tomorrow for another 2 hours, and I know that the school committee, you have your meeting tomorrow with the district review at 4:30 at Central. And I want to thank the executive team. I want to thank our principals, our department heads. I want to thank our teachers. Kim Gibson's been in interviews as well, and she'll have more. So I want to thank everybody who's been involved with putting this all together, going through the interview process. Obviously, we'll get very important feedback, probably sometime around this summer. And they look at everything from leadership to finances to instruction to the way the district is structured, to student work. So they look at everything from soup to nuts, and we welcome their feedback, and we'll look forward to, when we get that report, when they make it official, then obviously we'll share that with the committee, and also we will be doing activities with our principals going into next year and our staff, so everybody understands what's in the report when it comes out. So this is done every 6 years, so so far it's going well with, the schedule. They pretty much stay right on schedule. And they look forward to speaking with you tomorrow at 4:30. They'll start in the superintendent's conference room, and then they'll break you up into groups. So, and I know the mayor met with them today as this part of the city side finance.
We did it. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. It was myself, it was Troy Clarkson, the CFO of the city of Brockton, Marty Brophy, the city treasurer, and also Shirley Izak, the council president. It lasted about an hour and 25 minutes or so, two gentlemen. Great questions, great engagement. So round two for me is tomorrow, so it's going to be a good experience. It's not scary, believe me. It's good. My first time.
So I'll move to the FY21 budget update. I don't know if Mr. DiAugustino, you want to speak about what the subcommittee, the finance subcommittee, did earlier this evening at our 6 o'clock meeting, so we keep everybody updated, and I don't know if we have to make a motion at the full school committee to move forward.
Yes, thank you, Superintendent Thomas. And just to confirm, you are looking for a motion on this evening,
Yeah, I
correct?
believe we should do that tonight.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so, the Finance Committee met this evening at 6 o'clock, and we reviewed, and we had previously had some discussion at our retreat, but we reviewed and considered 93 additional certified staff positions. We had a bit of a lengthy discussion about adding pre-K positions, 4 pre-K positions, and in doing so, exclusive of the Barrett Russell, this would give us 6 full-day pre-K classrooms across the district, if I've got that correct.
That's correct.
Okay. And then we also, at the same time, had a conversation about kindergarten paras, adding 6 kindergarten paras at a cost of $150,000. And now with that, and I should have asked this in the subcommittee, will that bring us to 1 para for every kindergarten classroom?
Yes.
Wonderful. So that'll put us with a paraprofessional in every kindergarten classroom in the district, something we've needed for some time. This is going to be a big difference for our kindergarten classrooms, going forward. So I think, there were various different positions. I'm not going to go into each one, but there is one that I think, a big item in here, 13 student adjustment counselors at all levels were a part of these 93 positions. And again, there's positions at the high school, there's positions at the middle school level, the Keith Center. So the Finance Subcommittee voted unanimously to recommend to the full committee that we approve these 93 positions as well as 6 kindergarten paraprofessionals.
Any questions on that to the vice chairman? Seeing none, I have to entertain a motion relative to that matter.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the 93 positions as stated by Mr. D'Agostino.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Is there a second on that? Second by Mrs. Sullivan. All in favor, kindly raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. It hereby passes. Thank you.
One additional thing, I think did we include, I don't think we included the paras in that
Jack, can you
motion.
adjust the motion to include the 6 paras?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you make
Yes, I
a
will.
revised motion relative to incorporating that as well?
I'd like to revise it a little bit to add the 6 non-certified staff, 6 paras, to that motion as well.
There's an amendment to the motion made by Mr. Sullivan. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Sullivan. All in favor as the motion as amended, kindly raise your hand. All opposed as amended, it hereby passes as amended. Thank you. Thank you.
So I want to, again, publicly thank the committee and the mayor for their commitment to the students of Brockton. These 93 positions, certified positions. Oh, they want to clap. So, obviously, an important step to start building the district back from years of budget cuts, and it obviously starts always in the classroom. And that's always been the focus of this committee, the mayor and the school committee, city council as well, is to make sure that we always try to keep what's closest to the student. And we've always cut, the further away from the student you get is where we try to cut. So obviously, when we're adding positions back, the first positions you add back are the people that work with the students every day, and that's teachers, and obviously our paraprofessionals that are in classrooms every day. So I appreciate your support. You know, and it's been a long battle. And at the subcommittee, Mr. Sullivan kindly thanked Aldo and former Superintendent Smith for all the work they put in over the last 6 years. Really, you know, spending a lot of time on Beacon Hill, a lot of time with our local reps, a lot of time talking about the lawsuit, several meetings with attorneys. So I think their work and the work of the school committee, the mayor's office, and the city council really pushing this. City council put $150,000 in for the last 2 years to fund the, you know, the lawsuit. And luckily, the Student Opportunity Act went through. But I thought the reason it went through, a big part of that is because the push the city of Brockton put
Absolutely.
on the state.
Absolutely.
So I thank you for your support. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I too just want to echo the sentiments of what Mike just said. I mean, it's a team effort, right? But tonight's vote is a reflection of a lot of hard work, a lot of hours, a lot of banging the drums, saying, hey, listen, our Brockton kids, our boys and girls matter, our teachers matter. So this is a positive game change night for Brockton Public Schools. So everybody here, those that aren't here, that have actually previously served, everybody should really feel good about this. And I just want to thank everybody for all their combined efforts. Thank you.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes, sir.
If I may, just a comment on this as well. Again, I wanted to, and I said this in the subcommittee, and I'll probably say this several more times because I don't think I could say it enough, that I do want to make sure that we publicly thank the teachers and paras who are in the classrooms that have had way too many kids in them. And you know, they've had very difficult jobs these last 10 years, and so I want to thank them for everything they've done and everything they have tolerated, and for sticking with us. Many of them have been laid off and brought back, and laid off and brought back, and you know, I don't know how you live your life not knowing if you have a job every year, and many of them have had to do that, and I can't thank them enough. And also I want to thank the team in HR, because they have had to deal with a lot with the transfers, the blue slips, and the RIFs and the callbacks, and that all requires a lot of effort from HR as well to take all of those actions. And this is also really a first for, I think, everybody who is on this committee. I don't think there's a current member of this committee who has ever not had to vote for RIF notices. I don't even, no, I mean, Mr. Minicello's been on the longest, but I don't think he's ever been able to not vote for RIFs either. Yeah. So literally nobody on this, this is the first time for anybody on this committee that we've been able to not vote for RIFs, and then actually the first time we've been able to vote to add staff. So this is huge. And then finally, I did want to mention, I know Mr. Minicello and Ms. Asak are both out of town this evening and weren't able to join us, but I did discuss these positions with them, and they fully supported adding these positions, and we're thrilled that we were going to be in a position to be able to do this. So I wanted to make sure that I mentioned their support of this.
Thank you for noting that for the record, Mr. D'Agostino. Appreciate it. Mr. Sullivan, you're recognized.
I just wanted to mention, and I'll be real brief, that the 8 years that I've been here, we have never added positions to the school department. And this is the first time, and I was really impressed. I was really impressed when we when the teachers, retiring teachers were being filled. That has never happened. And this year, it's the first time in a long time, I'm sure. But this school committee has gone far and far before everybody and really made ends meet. We do what we had to do. We had to do the cuts, and now we had extra money. We spent every single cent, and I'm sure if there's anything left, you'll find it.
Spend every dime.
Yes, we are.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Anybody else want to be recognized? Seeing none, we'll continue on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So next, I want to invite up Melissa Shepard, our coordinator in community schools, our extended day programs. I also want to invite up from the YMCA. We have Aaron Spalding here and Lauren Selman. They're going to give us an update on the Project Grads program. As you know, this program changed. I think it's been 2 years now that the committee voted to make some change to Project Grads and welcome the Y in as a partner. So we wanted to make sure that you received an update on Project Grads and where we are with that and how many kids are being serviced and the program that's going on. So thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate it.
Great, thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Superintendent Thomas. Good evening. Good evening, Mayor
PowerPoint?
Sullivan. Nope, I'm going to
Oh,
pull
no
up a
PowerPoint. All
PowerPoint.
right.
And members of the school committee, as Superintendent Thomas mentioned, next to me is Lauren Selman, and we work together. We collaborate on
Do
Project
have a
Grads.
PowerPoint. No? Is there one?
What?
A PowerPoint? Oh,
Yeah,
all
but you don't
right,
need to
all right.
move. I mean, it's not, you know. You got to move?
They can't see it.
There is a cute baby up there, so I might.
Yeah.
You gotta move just to see the cute baby.
It would just be the top of your head. All right, from the beginning. Okay. So update on Project Grads. So for those members of the school committee who weren't here with us last year, and for Mayor Sullivan to update you, this is a child care and parenting education program for pregnant or parenting teens, and is operated for 2 years. This is the second year of a collaboration with Old Colony Y in Brockton Public. It is free for our students. They all receive child care vouchers. So we have 2 locations, Brockton High School, which we service infants 0 to 15 months, and West Chestnut Street, where older than 15 months, 16 months, the children can attend. So any Brockton Public Schools student in need, it could be a parenting dad or mom. We have all moms right now, but it could be a dad, is welcome to participate in any of the programs that we have in the city, including, Champion or Edison, Brockton High. So any student who has a need can join the program. So here are our current enrollment numbers. Right now, Brockton High, in the Project Grad room, we have 2 rooms, we have 5 infants. Up until December, early December, we had 1 infant. So we've added 4 infants in the last 2 months. At the West Chestnut location, we have 3 toddlers of current Brockton Public School students and 8 toddlers of graduated students. So the graduated students is a new addition to the program since our collaboration with the Old Colony Y. In the past, when kids graduated, their childcare ended, and they would, we might be able to help them, locate the next daycare, but they would go on like another type of voucher. But the Y has continued with the students, so Lauren will talk about that. They're working or in college, and we are able to continue the toddlers on the voucher with us, and so they're able to stay in care. And like I said, that's a new addition since we joined with the Y 2 years ago.
I'll just add that I think all but one student who graduated last year is continuously engaged with us still. So that's a good number.
It's great. And these kids will eventually be kindergarten students, so they'll have a great, solid, daycare preschool experience. So this is what we have right now, sort of who we're working with. We work with expecting teens and also parenting teens. So this is the breakdown of sort of where everybody is. We've got 4 freshmen, 6 sophomores involved, 5 juniors, and 3 seniors. And we've got the 8 kids who have graduated.
One of the students currently is over at Keith School.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could you just explain to me in terms of the home teaching? I think that's brilliant. What are the parameters on that? Like, what's the timing on home? Maybe give us a synopsis on that.
Sure. The home teaching is really guided by the physician and what the physician determines if the student can attend school. So it's a process with the nursing staff and the guidance department to kind of cover that time. And we set up the district sets up tutors to go to the house and tutor the student while they're on leave. And then they would return when the doctor, basically says that they can return back to school.
For some students, that teaching begins before their baby's born, and that sort of sets the groundwork depending on when they have to go out, if they have to go out a little earlier than anticipated.
I was just wondering about the toddlers on Westchester Street. Is that a separate voucher for them? Or
It's the same funding stream.
It's the same funding stream. It's part of our slots. So Brockton Public Schools has 23 teen voucher slots, and that covers teens through the age of 24. So we have never used all 23 slots in the whole history of the program. So by joining with the Y, we're using slots that would otherwise go unused. So we feel like it's to let the kids continue the support with the Y was part of the origination of the collaboration.
do you happen to, are those kids going to college, or are they going on to a job? Or?
So
Do you-
Lauren, I think, is going to talk about that in just a couple minutes, but we do know exactly through with the Y, we have a case manager of what exactly they're all doing, and Lauren can speak to that,
Okay, thank you.
so that you can know what they're doing.
Excuse me. I just wanted to comment. So at the time that we made this change to the program, there was a lot of differing opinions on what we should do or shouldn't do. Some said, cut it all together, there's no need for it anymore, and yet in the past few months you had 4 brand new babies and 4 new moms coming into the program. You've got 2 on leave, which means they're coming, and 2 more that are expecting and on their way. So clearly, for anybody that thought the need wasn't there, the need is still very much there. The other thing I wanted to point out too is the one thing we were never going to be able to offer was that continuity for once the mom graduates or the dad graduates, the child to be able to stay right there in the same daycare. Having a toddler myself, I know just how great it has been for him to be able to stay in that same place with all of his friends that he's had since he was a newborn. And so this didn't even come up at the time, but now that you've mentioned it, another benefit of the way this program was restructured is, you're right, we wouldn't have been able to offer that continuation.
Right.
And this is much better for the kid and much more stability for the kid to be able to stay right in that program. So anyway, just a couple of thoughts.
Yeah, and there was some transition last spring. Lauren and the staff at the Y did a really nice job because, of course, Project Grads is closed in the summer at Brockton High. It's closed all summer, but Lauren and her staff really worked hard to make room at the Y, whether it was West Chestnut or we had a child in the Stoughton Y for the summer, so they could have summer care as well. So the Y
Wonderful.
really worked hard to accommodate all of our moms.
And just as a piece of that, I'll just add, Mark, is that there was also tremendous programming happening with these teens during the summer. They had weekly field trips, they had different events, they had, a banking event. So it wasn't a stagnant time during the summer. That time was used to engage the teens and make sure that those relationships were kept flourishing over the summer so that, when they came back to school in the fall, it wasn't a whole new thing. It was like, this has already been going.
Right, and again, the summer engagement and the summer part is that's something we wouldn't have been able to do, and so this revised program has actually worked out to bring some benefits that we hadn't even anticipated.
So I wanted to share with the committee what Brockton Public Schools brings to this collaboration. So we provide transportation. It's a school bus, but it's fitted with car seats, and it sets out really early in the morning. About 6 a.m., I think, is the first pickup, and it picks up the moms with their babies, and it has 2 stops. It stops at Brockton High School, and it also goes to West Chestnut Street, and then the same thing in the afternoon. And it also brings that student to Champion High School, the one student that we have that goes to the Keith Center. So as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, Brockton has a contract with the EEC for the 23 teen slots. A teen slot is basically the cost of childcare. It's the reimbursement of childcare plus an add-on rate for case management. So there's a little bit of an add-on that we get every day to manage the teens, to provide what the Y does, the case management, which Lauren will talk about. Brockton High provides 2 classrooms in the Fine Arts Building, our Project Grad space. We have 3 paraprofessionals on staff that take care of the babies. We have access, obviously, to on-site nurse. The nursing staff has been wonderful. If any of the kids need to be seen or are sick, a nurse will come over. But the nurse also works closely with Lauren and her staff to identify students who are expecting and kind of bring them over and kind of introduce them to the program and to what we can provide. We do have a guidance counselor this year who's over right near the program, Heather Origi. And she has a caseload of her own, but she also supports the Project Grad Moms, and she's doing some work with them on college and career readiness. Administrative support through community schools. So I'm in place at community schools. Also, our team at community schools helps us, order supplies and invoices and kind of take care of the financial part of the program. We do provide childcare supplies as needed, like cleaning wipes. We order some, the moms do provide formula, but we buy some extra formula so it's on hand in case, something runs out. Just things like that, different diaper changing materials that a daycare would need, supplies like that. The high school, we're able to, administrative assistants are high school students. So it's been a long-standing sort of program that kids who are interested in early childhood, a career in early childhood, can spend some time over in the daycare volunteering. So we do have space for 2 high school students per period, and they go over and they kind of work with the paras and they assist however is needed with the babies, with feeding or playing or reading a story, things like that. And then any kids who are, obviously closer to the toddler age, we do provide school lunch if they're ready to eat solid food. The cafeteria, the Chartwell staff brings over lunch for the moms and the babies if it's a need. So Lauren's going to talk about how the Y contributes to our program.
Yeah. So like Melissa said, my name is Lauren Selman. I've been with the Y for a little over 10 years. I'm a senior program director. Many of you know that the Y has had a longstanding partnership with Brockton Public Schools, so this isn't our first collaboration, and hopefully it won't be our last new thing. Our program involves intense wraparound case management support for all the pregnant and parenting teens. Technically speaking, we are supposed to support the teens in their last 3 months of pregnancy, but for anyone who has ever been pregnant or supported a pregnant person, you know that you need support all along the way. So we do work with them from the moment, basically, that they find out that they're pregnant. They can come down and we're there as supports for them. Let's see. Like I said before, we're currently working with 8 of the 2019 graduates. I think, Mr. Sullivan, you asked how many of them are working or in school. So 2 of them are currently, they're eligible for this slot through their jobs, and the rest are going to school at Massasoit and continuing their education that way.
Good.
Let's see. So we offer space at the West Chestnut Street location. It's an EEC licensed program. So we have a lot of regulations that we have to follow. We are audited every year. It is a rigorous process, but it's something that we take extremely seriously. The Y provides administrative support through our family services branch. That's my role. I work very closely with our program facilitator. Her name is Ana Lobo. She's actually new this year. She's not new to us at the Y. We've known her for a long time, but she is Cape Verdean, and she brings a wonderful touch to the program. I think some of our Cape Verdean population has felt a little bit more comfortable this year, kind of coming down, knowing that there's not going to be a language barrier. They come right down, and it makes them feel comfortable right away. She started off part-time and has since, with the influx of some more moms, we've bumped her up to a full-time status. So that's been lovely. Let's see, the teens receive access to essential items, food, clothing, access to a car seat if they need it. Basically anything that they need, we're able to support that. In the rare occasion, if they need transportation to a doctor's appointment or something and we're not able to support physically, we'll give them, a gift card for transportation. Last year, we were able to support several teens in getting their prom dresses so that they could experience that really special milestone as part of high school and not have finances sort of get in the way of that. We're bringing in multiple guest speakers this year. Similarly to last year, we have Harbor One coming in to do financial literacy. Brockton Family and Community Resources doing a series on healthy relationships in hopes of avoiding any dating violence situations. We have WIC coming in to do breastfeeding support and birth preparation. And raising a reader is something that we've done in the past. So that's another positive. Some field trips that we've been on, which is always my favorite thing. We did a trip to Edaville Railroad recently in the winter on the coldest day of the year. We have to rethink our decision to do that. We recently just did Disney on Ice. This past summer, one of the favorite field trips was just going to the ice cream place in Whitman that I'm blanking on right now.
Oh, yeah, Peaceful.
Peaceful Meadows. So, some of us know more than others. But we do try to balance it out with just those fun, typical teenager experiences and those experiences that are going to make their parenting more robust and more strong. We're really looking forward to working together and support these resilient and amazing teens. And I think, on a lot of levels, we get more out of it than we give. So thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this.
Does the Y actively accept donated items?
We do. We're very thoughtful about the items that we accept because we want our students and our families to have the very best. So yes, we do. A lot of the items that we support students with are brand new, though. We have a partnership with Cradles to Crayons based out of Boston, and we do get a lot from them.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
What's the hours on West Chestnut Street? Is it the same as the school?
No, it's later. I believe it's 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Wow.
Monday through Friday.
Yeah, so a lot of, you saw back, we have the 5 infants, and we have more kids over at West Chestnut. The parents have a lot more choice when they go to West Chestnut because they have year-round care, which, as I mentioned, the Y did squeeze all of our kids in over the summer. They made it work. But the kids who go there already have year-round care, and they have a later time. So, they have a little more flexibility to have part-time jobs after school or, stay after school for, academics or clubs or things like that.
Okay, thank you.
Just to comment on something you just mentioned that really is, I think, something unique that the Y also brought to the table is, again, the focus is, of course, helping the teen parents learn to become parents, but also you've talked about several instances where you also are giving them the opportunities to still enjoy being teenagers too. And I think it's wonderful that, while certainly their teenage years will be different than others, you're still making sure that they still have some of those same opportunities and they don't have to miss that. That is awesome.
So that is the end of our presentation, but we're happy to answer more questions.
Just one quick one. You mentioned car seats, or baby seats. What do you loan those out and they return them when they're done? Or?
So we have a couple of loaners that go out just in a pinch. But if a student doesn't have a car seat, we'll explore all the avenues. So some of them can get it through their insurance. So we'll try to do that. Last year, it just so happened that Brockton Police Department got a grant to purchase car seats that are just the safest that they come. So we were able to provide them in that capacity. I'm not sure. Brockton Police is coming out later in the month. I'm not sure if they're doing the same thing if they got the same grant money, but regardless, no student will go to the hospital to have their baby without a car seat with them. Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah, and an education on how to buckle it, because it does take a few professionals to make that clear. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does.
I miss those days. Especially with the winter cold.
I got a question. I know you mentioned Mrs. Lobo is working. Is there data? I mean, is it just the Cape Verdean, the population of these, high school students that are having children at early age, or is it just she's bringing something else different? Because you said the language barrier there. So I'm just trying to see if it's you have a classroom, just Cape Verdean.
Yeah, I didn't break down the specific demographics, but I can only speculate that maybe that's why. Everyone in the program is not Cape Verdean. But I'm speculating that, word travels fast. And if one student tells a friend that Anna's really nice and she speaks, Creole, a couple of them have said, oh, I came down because I knew that Anna's Cape Verdean, and so I do know that there are students in the school that maybe are not participating in project grads for whatever personal reason, but it's not the whole program is not only Cape Verdean moms. Mhm.
Sounds like a real good program. It's working great.
Yeah.
Nice job.
I just wanted to say that when this program, when we were going to make changes to this program last year, there was a little bit of pushback from some school committee members, but Superintendent Smith and her team presented it as though more opportunities for students, and it certainly has given them that. So just wanted to add that in.
Thank you. That's our hope for moving forward.
So great job.
If I could, I'd just like to, mention, I applaud these teen parents. To be, 15 plus and have to become a parent and be responsible for a little baby. That at that age, that is amazing what they're doing. And I will say that I don't know any of them, but I'm very proud of each and every one of them, because I cannot imagine what that must be like at that young age to take on that responsibility. So, that's just very impressive and amazing that they are taking that on and doing the right things and learning the things they need to learn to be great parents.
We'll happily share that with them.
Please do.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank
You're making
you.
a difference. Truly appreciate the update. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
So that will end the report of the superintendent of schools, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Superintendent. We're going to go to number 6 on the agenda, which is unfinished business, Student Opportunity Act, SOA, 3-year district plan.
So just an update on our work towards the 3-year district plan for the Student Opportunity Act. I want to thank Jess Hodges. I want to thank members of the executive team, and I want to thank Kim Gibson. Last Tuesday and Thursday, we had our teacher forums that really went well. Thanks to Jess is putting so we had the teachers working in groups to provide their feedback in each of the areas that the state highlighted, the 4 major areas. So the teachers worked, very hard together, provided some great feedback, and Jess and Ashley, with the help of Kim, have been putting that all together. And actually, Jess, it's complete. So we have the teacher feedback that Jess will be emailing out to all teachers and staff tomorrow. So they see exactly the feedback so we had the elementary teachers on last Tuesday afternoon here at the high school, and then on Thursday afternoon, we had the high school and the alternative school teachers, and middle school as well. So we had so I thought it went well, breaking people into groups so they could work in groups rather than standing there listening to me talk about the Student Opportunity Act. So we did a brief presentation, then let them go and work in groups for about an hour. We'll send the feedback out. We will put the feedback also in your Friday packet. I did that same activity at a principals meeting last Wednesday, so their feedback is there as well. That will be emailed out and also be in your Friday packet. So I want to thank the teachers for their participation. We'll be bringing them. We'll have another meeting before obviously any votes taken to update our staff on the progress of the 3-year district plan. So again, those went well. Next week, next Monday, at the North Community Center, we will have a meeting for our bilingual parents to get their feedback and input on the Student Opportunity Act. That's at 6 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, we'll also have a meeting with our special education parents to get their feedback. This will all be in your packet also. We'll send text messages out to the families as well. And then next Thursday night, all parents will be, parents can come to that meeting as well. So there'll be 3 opportunities. The Department of Education spelled out that you should have separate meetings with bilingual parents to make sure there's plenty of translators there, to make sure that everybody understands. So I want to thank Kelly Jones and her team in the bilingual department to help put that together. I want to thank Laurie Mason and the special ed department to put the meeting of parents together for our special ed parents. And then obviously Thursday we'll have all parents as well. And at that meeting, all parents are welcome to attend. So we just wanted to make sure we had plenty of opportunity to provide parents to get their feedback. And parents will also go into work in groups as well, so they can provide feedback. We'll have recorders there. We'll have our translator machines and our parent liaisons there doing all the translations. So, so everybody understands what we're saying and what we're looking for parent feedback. So I want to thank central staff for putting that all together. Again, next Monday at 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock at the North Community Center. And then next Thursday, the 12th, for all parents at 6 p.m. The reason we're doing it at North, I want to get people used to seeing the community center, and as they're there for the meetings about the Student Opportunity Act, they actually can see the programs that we're offering at the community center as well. So we'll do the meetings in the auditorium, and again, this will all be in your Friday packet, and we'll make sure we'll get a text message out to all parents this week. So we're working towards, we have a lot of work to do. We'll put all the feedback together. There's more meetings to take place. And we'll continue with our updates with the Student Opportunity Act as we all work together to put the plan in place. So if anybody has any questions on the Student Opportunity Act, I want to thank Mr. DiAugustino, because last week he and I met with BIC, the Brockton Interfaith Community, and we talked about the Student Opportunity Act, and they talked about how they could help with their feedback. So they're working together to come back to us, and we'll meet with them obviously again before the final vote on our plan. So I also want to thank the mayor has provided us with a forum. The city council has provided us with forums with Miss Sullivan and Cynthia were with us. We were there last Thursday night for the Ward 2 and Ward 5 meeting.
Yes.
Yes. So we were there, and I want to thank them because they came up and gave a lot of information at that meeting about the Student Opportunity Act, and I followed them, so I want to thank them as well. So that was a joint meeting with Ward 2, Mr. Thompson, Councilor Monahan and Jeff Thompson as well. So that was a good meeting. The week before that, I was at the Council at Large meeting. I was invited by all the councils at large. We did a presentation there as well on the Student Opportunity Act, so, that went well. So, and then we presented to the city council the week before that. So we continue to reach out to all our stakeholders to make sure everybody has the opportunity to give feedback to me and the executive team, and obviously you as a school committee. So I want to thank you for your help and working through this as well. As you know, we're on a tight deadline, so we're trying to get as many meetings in as possible to make sure everybody has, gets a say, rightfully so, and we follow the law. And it's actually been a good exercise because I've really appreciated the feedback, and again, the teacher forums went well. So, things are going well as we progress towards the 3-year plan.
Yeah, and I just want to thank the superintendent. I've gotten really positive feedback from all the city councils, the council at large, parents. I want to thank Aldo. He did a wonderful presentation before the Chamber of Commerce. I was there that day. But it's really a collective effort right now, and it's working in such a positive manner. So I just want to thank, it starts with the superintendent, and it kind of trickles down, but everyone has a shared vision. So thank you for all your efforts on that.
And I also want to say, and actually the rest of it I'll bring up under new business. So that's it under the unfinished business. With the
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Yep, I appreciate that. We'll go on number 7, which is new business. Mr. Superintendent.
So new business, I want to just give an update on the coronavirus. The mayor held a meeting yesterday.
Yep.
And I'll let him speak about that, but I want just let you know that we stay connected with the Mass Department of Public Health, so to make sure that we get updated with every recent update. I'm on the superintendent's listserv. So, and also Linda Cahill, our supervisor of nurses, is getting updates constantly. We're still following the guidelines as we would follow for fighting the flu. Hand washing, hand sanitizer, making sure we're disinfecting hard surfaces in schools, desks, tables, the cafeteria tables. So we continue what we would do in, typical flu season. And we'll continue to watch every day for any new updates and guidance that comes out from DPH. So, we'll continue to follow it and watch it. Obviously, everybody's concerned about it, but and there's no way that we will ever let any guidance or any notice come to us and not act on it immediately. So, and the mayor has put things in place, and as we continue to get the guidance from the state and from the CDC, as we move forward, we'll continue to obviously act as quick as we possibly can to prevent this from spreading and protect our students and staff.
If I could just kind of follow up on that, we had a 2:30 roundtable yesterday in the GAR room at City Hall. I do want to thank Mike. Jim was there, Tobias Collins was there, Director of School Nursing was there. We had the Board of Health there, we had BAT there, we had Housing Authority there, we had Council on Aging there, we had the Chief of VR from Signature Healthcare, Brockton Hospital, we had the Chief over at the VA Hospital, we had Father Bill's Mainspring, we had a lot of people there. And the whole purpose was to discuss, what next steps are. They're changing every single day. But at the end of the day, what I came away, and Jim, you can probably concur with this, is, listen, we can't panic. We have to be smart about this. We have to educate. We have to just do best practices, washing your hands, cleaning down, disinfecting, making sure that, we stress to the citizens and the parents, if you have flu-like symptoms, you can, self-isolate yourself in your home, go to your medical clinician. But we're on top of this. We know that it's a serious condition. We see this on the West Coast. When someone dials 911 right now, there's a mandatory question: have you traveled outside of the country in the last 14 days? They list the 5 countries. And at the same time, we're going to be doing reverse 911 calls, social media updates, so that everybody is just clear on what the expectations are. There'll be in multiple languages as well, making sure we address all constituencies here in the city of Brockton. So that's where we are right now, but we're working in tandem, and we'll just continue to do it as we progress through this trying time. I also just wanted a couple things, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman. I wanted to just say tomorrow night, and thanks again to the superintendent and Brockton Public Schools, I'm hosting a Stop the Violence Forum, the main auditorium, 6 to 8 tomorrow night. Anybody that has any interest living or working in the city of Brockton is invited. It'll be 6 to 8. We'll have representatives from the District Attorney's Office, the State Police, Brockton PD, Brockton Fire, myself, schools. And it's, again, just sharing of ideas. We have to really get a hold of this because there's such an uptick right now in gunshots. Of course, there's root causes. A lot of it's drug-related. But, again, we'll discuss it, and we'll walk away, I think, with a shared vision as we move into the warmer months. I do want to thank everybody that participated yesterday in the Dr. Seuss reading. This was my 15th year reading at the Brookfield Elementary School. I read at the Davis School, and I went over to Self-Help, and I read the 8 classrooms over there as well. And I know a lot of you did that. And it makes a difference, not just to the kids, right? The boys and girls are so excited. I walked in with my Dr. Seuss tie, and they're all excited. But the teachers are excited, too, to see us. So it's a win-win for everybody. And I do want to commend everybody that took the time to do that. And then the last thing I want to do before we get to any other things, we have an Art Smart Brockton Public Library Spring Art Exhibit and Contest. It's going to be Tuesday, March 17th. If you're Irish, that's the holiday known as St. Paddy's Day. It's 6 to 7 p.m. at the Joseph A. Driscoll Art Gallery at Brockton Public Library, which is at 304 Main Street. Anything else, Mr. D'Agostino? Did you have anything?
Yes, first, I think everybody's Irish on St. Paddy's Day. But I just wanted to, you mentioned the Read Across America on Monday, and I just wanted to take a minute to thank the Arnone School for their invitation to come and read. I had the wonderful opportunity to read to a pre-K class as well as 2 kindergarten classes. The kids were great. It was a lot of fun. And I read the book about hair, which I thought there was some irony there given my lack thereof. The kids had a bit of fun with that as well. And some of them thought at the end, there's a gentleman with a goatee, they talk about him using it to water ski. I asked the kids if they felt I should grow my goatee out. Some of them did. They thought that'd be fun. I'm not sure how much fun I would have doing that, but so again, thank you to the Arnone School and all of the staff there for the invitation and the opportunity, and again, thank you to the kids, because they obviously were the ones that really made it enjoyable for me to be there.
Thank you.
Just to echo Mr. DeAgostino, I was able to read to a 5th grade class, Mrs. Gordon's class, which I just want to give a shout out because you could just see the great expectations and classroom culture that she has. I read a book a little different than Dr. Seuss. I went with Island Born. I talked a little bit about my identity, and the kids were so engaged because they didn't understand what island it was, but the context clues they used, the inferences, just like going back to the book and saying, well, you said this, so I think it's this island. And a lot of them went back to thinking about islands like Hawaii, Haiti, Jamaica. None of them got it, but I was able to let them know it is the Dominican Republic, and then we talked a little about that. So the geography was amazing, but definitely want to give a shout out to Mrs. Gordon for allowing that and just like having a great classroom culture in her class.
Thank you
at
for
the
sharing
Arnone School.
that. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Mr. Sullivan, please.
Yes, I was at 2 schools yesterday, but I wanted to mention that the Barrett Russell is having their reading tomorrow, if anybody wants to go. I have to be there at 9:30. The Dr. Seuss is tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tomorrow, huh? Okay.
It's,
Thank you.
I didn't realize it's all week long.
Tim, to add to yours is 9:30 and also 1:30
Yeah.
block. Yep.
I was going to bring in one tonight that my 2nd grader gave me, and we could all read it together, but maybe we'll do that next year. How's that? Mrs. Sullivan, please.
I just wanted to thank Julianne, Dr. Andrade, because she puts on an awesome kindergarten showcase that I attended at the Arnone School. I think it was last Tuesday night, or one of the days last week.
They all do blend, don't they, Judy?
Yeah, because we had
they
the
do.
retreat. She had another one on Saturday, but we had the retreat on Saturday, so I know I didn't go to that. But they do a really great job, and for any parents out there, every parent that's child is going to kindergarten should go to this showcase. Tonight, they had the dual language programs at the George School kindergarten showcases. So there's always lots of stuff going on, but
Absolutely.
she puts on a really great program, and parents leave very informed.
Thank you, Mrs. Sullivan. Anybody else?
I just want to say
Sure.
good luck to the drama club. They did a great job with their, the show they put on this past week, and they're moving in, obviously, into finals, and they'll obviously earn more awards than they always do. So I want to congratulate Mr. Hogan and all the team and staff that work with our drama club students. They do a great job, and again, best of luck to the Brockton High School boys basketball team as they play in the South Sectional Finals this Friday night at 7:30 against Mansfield, and that game is at Taunton High School. So we wish the boys the best of luck. So this should be a great game.
And if you can get out there, please do. It's going to be a great venue. Anything else relative to new business? Seeing none, members of the committee, I'm going to go on to number 8 on the agenda, and it's executive session. I have to read this to meet the standards of Mass General Law. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect of the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares pending litigation is topic. That being said, I need to do a roll call vote. Mayor Sullivan, yes. Mr. Minicello, not applicable. Ms. Azak, not applicable. Ms. Mendez? D'Agostino?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mrs. Sullivan? Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
That's 6 in the affirmative, none in the negative. We will be going into executive session. Members of the committee, we will not be coming back into session at this time. Anything before us? We'll go into executive session, we'll leave here, and we'll go into the room. Thank you.